Alright, listen man, don't mind my voice today. I'm down with some kind of plague, dude. But ever since I was a little tyke, I was into horror. Heck yeah, dude. You got Freddy Krueger out there. You got Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, dude. The old Mike Myers. Classic horror villains that cemented themselves in the nightmares of 80s kids for all time. Some of those Nightmare on Elm Street movies were actually pretty scary. Now, as time went on, my taste in horror became more sophisticated, less blunt. You know, I got into psychological horror, sci-fi, Korean, Japanese horror, and then I went down the cosmic horror rabbit hole with games like Bloodborne. You know, all the Cthulhu stuff, obviously one of my all-time favorites. Horrors and magic tend to be along that line, more cosmic horror, being so terrible, so outside the rational world that they don't fit anywhere else. They also tend to encompass a wide variety of gameplay archetypes. I was first introduced to Gallowbraid and Morphin as magic horror exemplars. Check out that art, dude. Back then, they were just legends. And hey, listen, if you like this video or any of my other videos, like, subscribe. You know, you can buy me a coffee at the link in the description if you want. Like the perennial supporter Tyler out there. Thanks a lot, bros. Now, there really is only one horror-specific commander, and that's Captain Enguthrode. I don't know how the heck to say this, dude. If I'm saying it wrong, you can just go scratch. There's a ton of lore behind this guy. He hails from the lore-rich Forgotten Realms. Dungeons & Dragons has a lot of crazy stuff, man. The Mind Flayers, also known as Illithids, are some of the craziest. It's kind of nuts to think about space pirates in a fantasy game, but here we are. So this guy is 3 blue and a black for a legendary creature, Horror Pirate. It's a 3/6. Horrors you control have Menace. Whenever a horror you control deals combat damage to a player, that player mills that many cards. At the beginning of your end step, choose target artifact or creature card in an opponent's graveyard that was put there from their library this turn. Put it onto the battlefield under your control. This is way more powerful than people think when they see it. The Captain is explosive, dude. It's a neat deck that you can just jam horrors into along with reanimation spells. I built it. It's a lot of fun, man. The Captain here lets your Illithid shine. Like this guy, the old Mind Filet Mignon. It's a thematic and cool looking character, plus you have the D&D rulebook version that gets a little fabulous out there with that neck piece, dude. It's about to anchor a drag show, this guy. Oh man, look at Grazalax out there, dude. Whenever a creature you control becomes blocked, you may return it to its owner's hand. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. This guy has a neat ability that evokes a Mind Flayer sucking out the brains, which is my least favorite move in Bloodborne, dude, eating all my insight. I hate those things. And the Harvester, this guy is really neat, man. He's out there doing Ceramorphosis on people, dude. You know, that's the process of turning a guy into a squid, brother, and that exemplifies body horror in Magic the Gathering. Ever read Kafka's Metamorphosis? Well, he was horrified as he turned into a bug. Anyways, man, this is another Illithid that has a useful, unique ability that doesn't really synergize with anything. That's the cool thing about a horror deck, is that the opponents have no idea what you're doing next. I mean, take a look at this Spawn here, dude. He's a fish, but he's also a horror like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Aboleth Spawn is 2 and a blue for a creature fish horror. It's a 2/3 with flash and ward 2. Has probing telepathy. Whenever a creature entering the battlefield under an opponent's control causes a triggered ability of that creature to trigger, you may copy that ability. You may choose new targets for the copy. This really stymied an opponent who was playing a Tolsimir deck. It just sat there making a mess, dude. I got a bunch of wolves off of it that game before it got wiped out. It's just a very fun card. And listen, man, I know you played a lot of Commander games, but you probably never saw the Sludge Monster. 3 blue for a creature horror, it's a 5/5. Whenever this guy enters the battlefield or attacks, put a slime counter on up to one other target creature. Non-horror creatures with slime counters on them lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 2/2. And you know what? People sleep hard on this card, dude. This is an all-star removal spell in my horror deck. People are always like, what the heck, dude? Did you make that card up in a fever dream or something? I said, no, man, but I got it for 18 cents. Now, we do have a subset of horrors that synergize with Mill and do great in a Captain Enguthrode deck, like the Consuming Aberration. 3 blue and a black for a creature horror, it's a star. This guy's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in your opponent's graveyard. Whenever you cast a spell, each opponent reveals a card from the top of their library until they reveal a land card, then puts those cards into the graveyard. I pulled a promo for this and I thought I was hot cross buns, dude, but now look at it. It's only $1.85 for this classic, man. for that promo. But you know, the rest of them are like 30 cents, dude. This guy also got new art with the captain deck. Oh, come on, dude. This is a classic, the old Nemesis here. 3 blue and a black for a creature, Leviathan Horror. It's a 3/7. Whenever this guy attacks, defending player mills 10 cards. Words describing it fail, dude, just like my ex-girlfriend. This guy is powered out of the format right now, but used to be a little more impactful. I mean, 10 cards is nothing to sneeze at, though. And that big butt makes it hard to kill on block. Wish she had evasion, though, man. Looks like a Florida stepmom, if you ask me. Go from the Nemesis of Reason to the Nemesis of Sewers. 3 and a black for a creature horror, it's a star. As this guy enters the battlefield, choose a player. Sewer Nemesis's power and toughness are each equal to the number of cards in the chosen player's graveyard. Whenever the chosen player casts a spell, that player mills a card. This puts the heat on your mill target, dude. This is why you don't flush anything other than toilet paper. You get all clogged up with the Sewer Nemesis. And listen, man, a discussion of horrors would not be complete without Toxrill the Corrosive. 5 black for a legendary creature slug horror, it's a 7/7. At the beginning of each end step, put a slime counter on each creature you don't control. Remember the sludge monster? He uses slime counters too. Creatures you don't control get -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. Whenever a creature you don't control with a slime counter on it dies, create a 1/1 black slug creature token. You can pay blue and a black, sacrifice a slug, draw a card. That's a lot of text, man. This is about $10 to $13 and is a prime reanimation target in any commander deck. This triggers at each end step, man. If you untap with this, all the weenies are toast around the table. That's nuts, dude. Plus all the bigger creatures are now weenies anyway, as the cosmic slug from beyond the Veil of Time rules overall. Plus he draws cards, man. This thing's crazy. And then you got Umbrus out there, dude. 3 and a black for a legendary creature, Nightmare Horror. It's a 1/1. This guy gets +1/+1 for each card your opponents own in exile. Whenever Umbrus or another Nightmare or Horror enters the battlefield under your control, target opponent exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a land card. Umbrus is another monstrous commander that gets super big as Nightmares and Horrors ETB. I've played against this commander and it's scary with a dedicated build around. I like how this guy's name reflects his lore too. He's an avatar of fear. Feeds on sadness. He's in there listening to Billie Eilish in his room, dude. Alright, so most of these horrors are kind of centered in blue and black, and we've covered what goes in Captain Hentai Face deck, but what are some other notable horrors, dude? Well, you got Gisela and Bruna out there. The Meld Angels are both horrors, which I didn't know until right now. Then you've got Nihilor. He believes in nothing. I've never built a dedicated Nihilor deck, but it's got a powerful ETB that's solidly in flicker colors, man. A lot of hoops to jump through, though. This card's pretty neat. And from the Lord of the Rings, Sauron and Gollum are both horrors. They are the Ring Bros anyways, man. It makes sense. All the Saurons. Between the two of these guys, you have a grand total of 7 horrors. That's the thing I liked and simultaneously disliked from the Lord of the Rings. It felt like there were way too many mechanics and cards with similar names to remember what the heck they all did. Now, Karik is a horror, dude. This guy's always trying to impress his dad, but his dad is an evil demon god and really doesn't have time for his own son, dude. It's a sad commentary of post-industrial America. Anyways, man, he's a horror. Probably should be in my captain deck if he ain't. I do have him in Greven, though. He goes nuts there, and he's a powerful commander all by himself. And, of course, Atraxa is a horror. She's an angel horror. I don't know if she's a she or a lady or what the heck's going on with that, dude. Just looks like a big old mess of tentacles and wings and spikes. Speaking of hot ladies, we got Sabo Tavok, 5 black and a red. Blast from the past, dude. Legendary creature, Phyrexian horror, it's a 7/4. Has first strike and protection from legendary creatures. Black tap, destroyed target legendary creature, it can't be regenerated. Listen, man, I think it looks like Tyra Banks. I'm gonna die on this hill. This is a mean old card that's pretty nasty in a commander deck, but it costs 7 mana. It's kind of powered out. I don't think anyone is playing this old lady anymore, and that kind of makes me sad because there's a lot of cool lore behind it. It is errated to be a horror, though. And finally, coming in hot at under $3 after a reprint in the Multiverse Legends is Yarok the Desecrated, or Yarok or whatever. This fella is made out of cobwebs, birch bark, and green effluvium. It's a Panharmonicon on a stick, but better with Death Touch and Lifelink, man. This is a really fun commander deck. It can be built on the cheap, or it could be a pretty wide variety of themes. Don't sleep on this cheap horror, dude. Very fun, silly deck. Alright, so that's my ruminations for the day, dude. I'm gonna go play some Baldur's Gate, man. I'm sick as a dog over here, dude. I'm sneezing, I'm coughing, I'm aching, stuffy head fever, and I can't rest. I'm up all dang night, dude. So, It's probably super gonorrhea or something, man. Some kind of pox. It's no fun being sick, but I have a nose like Gonzo from the Muppets, man, so I just pick up everything like a dang vacuum cleaner. Anyways, love you guys. Have a great day. Snicky G for Better Commander, signing off.